vortex. I've been thinking a lot about femininity, which I seem to lack on an energy level. I mean, according to the modern world, I don't seem very feminine because, you know, I don't subscribe to certain aesthetics. But I don't have to. That's the thing. People complain about women all the time and how, like, boring we are and how, yeah, they just kind of go along with whatever society's doing. But if they don't, then you get mad about that too. So which one is it? So it's like you don't want a woman to be fake, but you also don't want a woman to be emotional. And we as human beings are supposed to be emotional, okay? Women have more of this than men. Men have more logic than women. But if a woman is more capable, like a man, of doing things that are characteristic of men, then she'll probably take any emotions that she has and understand them. Versus what most women are doing and just turning off their emotions completely through medications and desensitization, media, TV, all that. So what you see happening to men, you know how men are shamed for having a penis? Well, you know, this is the flip side of it. It really is. Like, and if I look at it logically, I see how everything has that level of, like, shame, you know? You should be ashamed of being a woman, you know, because you're responsible for the original sin. Now, granted, that's true. If you believe in the story of creation, that's true. But if women are asked to be held accountable for things that we've done since the beginning of time, or since the beginning of our existence, rather, then of course this would happen to men. And men are gonna be held accountable for women that they never mistreated a long time ago. It's the flip side, okay? That's why all these white people are being discriminated against for being white. They did that with all these other colors. So I guess you just have to have empathy to understand it. And since empathy is considered to be a weakness, and feelings are considered to be feminine, because people view emotions as a bad thing, they have no problem turning them off. And so it figures that really bad things, or let's just say things that aren't good for society, like violence, okay? And now sex is either directly or indirectly related to violence. I think that pornography is an act of violence. Because it's like you're screwing yourself up watching things like that. And the way that you get off is like totally unnatural. It's like you're getting off through visual stimulation. You know? Everything about this culture is like suicide. And this isn't me trying to shame anybody for watching porn. This is me trying to help you to understand what you're really doing to yourself. And that person in the video that you just masturbated to was probably trafficked. Okay? And if they weren't trafficked, it's probably a case of the girl's stepdad coming into her room night after night, and she sees herself as nothing more than a piece of ass, so she might as well get paid for it. Okay? Like, I don't think that people really want to dig any deeper. Because if they knew, like, the actuality of the things that they've given into, if we knew the actuality of what we've given into as a society, most people would kill themselves because it would depress them so much. I really believe that. If they shut down the internet, most of these people, I guarantee you, every single person on an SSRI, so an antidepressant, every single person that's like on Twitter and like they're obsessed with their Twitter account, like they would lose their fucking minds, dude. They'd probably kill themselves within 3 days. Especially if they're on psych meds. If they're on psych, like every single person on psych meds would kill themselves. I do believe that. I was just talking to this dude who works for AFLAC. And I have some kind of insurance through them because I don't have regular ass insurance. And we just got into this really long conversation about all these things that are wrong with this country. And we were talking about sexuality and like how they're pushing that on children. And he said that his wife is a nurse at a psychiatric hospital. And I admitted to him that when he first told me that, I was like, just disgusted. But he said that she wants to quit her job because she doesn't like working there, because she doesn't like how much they push medication on people. And I'm like, well, honey, that's kind of what a psych ward is all about, you know? But she wants to try to understand, like, the deeper element of, like, you know, what's making a person suicidal, what's making a person crazy. Yeah, if you don't fit in with this suicidal shit show of a society, you're deemed crazy. If you look around you and you see all these people that are overweight and obviously depressed, because I don't know how you could not be depressed being overweight. I saw some bitch like in one of those carts, you know, one of those like those rolley things. It wasn't at the Walmart though, mind you. It was at Kroger. She was so fat she couldn't even push her gatorade around by herself, you know? And that's really sad that somebody's so addicted to sugar that they have to fucking roll around in a cart for the rest of their life, you know? But anyway, yeah, it's just like, that's America though. That's the society that we live in. And so, yeah, if you're depressed by that, that's probably a good thing, because you should be depressed, knowing that that's our society. And that's encouraged, dude. That's encouraged. They want you to be in that state. They want everybody to be in a rolley cart. They really do. It's sad. But anyway, what was I talking about, damn it? I was talking about how all these people are like on medication and this conversation I was having with a dude that works in AFLAC, He said that one of his really good friends committed suicide on medication. And it was like totally random. Like he just like shot himself in the face. And I think like in front of somebody. And it was just like, that's crazy. That all it takes is just like popping the wrong pill and you're dead. Or popping the wrong pill and you go shoot a bunch of people, or you stab your parents to death, or you bludgeon your dog with a hammer, or you go to school and you take any kind of weapon. They won't talk about it unless it's a firearm, by the way. But that's crazy that you could just like go to school. Like I read about this kid that he was like 8 years old and he was on Ritalin, and he showed up at school and beat his classmate to death with a hammer. Okay? Why isn't that talked about? I mean, they don't want people to know like how dangerous these medications are, because that's what they think of us as a society, you know? And that's why it's really stupid to shit on mentally ill people, because mentally ill people, obviously, you know, there's a problem, right? But if you're gonna just completely disregard people and think that they should be treated inhumanely all because they have something wrong with their brain, or they're just acting out or whatever, you know, it's just so wrong. Like the way that people are treated that have any kind of problem whatsoever. Like you're really lucky if you figure that out yourself, and if you recognize that there's an issue and you can actually admit it and you're willing to do something about it. It's like they want to punish people for being honest with themselves. And then they want to convince people that, you know, don't have any issue whatsoever that they need to be on pills because they could do something drastic. Like this friend of mine at church, her dad passed away a couple of years ago, and they were trying to get her on antidepressants. And she was like, no, my dad just died. That's why I'm upset. I'm grieving. But yeah, like you hear about this, or you actually, I take that back. You don't hear about this. If you looked it up, you'd read about it on some fucking counterculture website, probably. But people that didn't have any interest on being on psych meds, they didn't seek psychiatric care. They were told to take medication for whatever reason, and then within a week they killed themselves. So, and some of them will kill themselves whenever they're trying to get off the medication too. So then they have this excuse of like, oh, it's because they got off the medication, that's why they did that. That shit's dangerous as fuck. But I actually don't think that it's like severely mentally ill people that would end up killing themselves. I think they're trying to get the sheep. Because severely mentally ill people know that that shit's bad. You know? The less you go along with society, the more you'll understand why it's so easy for society to be controlled the way that they are. Because rarely do any of these people question the authority of these doctors and nurses, okay? And it's because of their blind trust of authority figures that they listen to them. But I don't have that. I have the opposite. I have a middle finger that is directed specifically at authority figures. So, if they control me at all, it's temporary because I understand the situation. Like when I checked myself into the psych ward that's right up the street, we've passed it a couple times. I knew that they would put me on medication, but I checked myself into their care, so like, I wasn't gonna resist it. I watched this dude, who I didn't like at all. Nobody liked him. He was a sociopath. We watched him get thrown down on the ground. 5 nurses held him down and injected him with a needle. Okay? That's fucked up. Now, he was in the facility because of the state. I guess the state threw him in there because the insanity plea or some shit. But yeah. Nobody should be okay with that sort of treatment. I don't care what you did. I don't care who you are. And it's our lack of empathy that's the real problem. Because if you don't have that for other people, why should anybody have that for you? If you're fine with people being mistreated all because you don't like them or all because they're not of your identity group or your religion or whatever, then what's going to stop the powers that be from like reversing it and doing the exact same thing to you? So they have done that with Jews. Now, I do think that it was for the sole purpose of doing what they're doing now. That's why they kept black people here instead of sending them back to Africa. That's why women were like essentially prisoners of their husbands. And now it's the other way around. It's like, this is what you get, man. And I hate that. I don't think it's right, but it's like, I don't think that any kind of mistreatment's right. So they make it about identity so they don't have to make it about behavior. Because it's much easier to talk about skin color or genitals surface stuff. Because people don't want to get down to the bottom of anything. Because most people are not interesting. And they don't want to fix any kind of problem. Don't let them fool you. If they're not willing to be uncomfortable, if they're not willing to be inconvenienced, if they're not willing to take criticism, then they're not willing to solve problems.